All right. Like I said, well obviously every time they win, we'll be playing that well. Now if they don't win, then we'll figure something else out. But anyway, welcome to another Eagles look back edition. Obviously, of course, it's just a trio this week. Matt's not going to be on, unfortunately, at least for this episode, but he should be on for the bigger show here coming up here very soon. So we're 3-0. Everything's good. We think everything's good. We had one of the most exciting comebacks in the history of this team. It started off well. Zach Bond got a pick. We did the tush push. 7-0. Okay. At least we showed fight there. Then, well, I kind of feared the Rams would take over this game in the first half, and basically they did. Absolutely did what they had to do methodically with the ball. Stafford, Kyron Williams, and Puka Nakua kept moving the change. Hard to bring him down, one of the top receivers. And then even Devontae Adams, you know, even though it's not Aaron Rodgers, it's Stafford, but still, Devontae being the potential Hall of Famer of him as well. Unfortunately, we somehow ended up being down at the half. And then as the start of the second half, being down 12, we ended up being down 19 because of Eagles had their first turnover of the season. And then obviously that ended that and it flipped the switch. And Jalen Hurts kind of telling everybody, we're the world champs. We can turn this around quickly. And that's exactly what happened. Jalen Hurts went off, threw for 3 touchdowns, and we'll talk about that because a big deal with that on the other show. But obviously, he brought us back. AJ Brown had an AJ Brown like second half where he just AJ Brown like game where he just untouched and hard to bring down. Always making all the great catches. Devontae making the great catches, and somehow we're back up. But the Rams knew that with the Eagles, they didn't need a touchdown to win. They just needed a field goal. And they put themselves in position. And Jordan Davis, not once, but twice, in the second one, blocked it and brought it back for a score that we didn't need, but it looks better on the stats.
Oh, yes, we did.
But the Eagles are 3-0 and flying high as we should. But knowing what we saw for almost 2/3 of the game has to be concerning because we know that this Eagles team is good enough, but vulnerability is something that they are because they're not winning games by 20 or 30 points. They can be beaten. We've seen that almost twice this season. And basically, until that comeback, it looked like we were heading for an L. So, gentlemen, your thoughts on what I already brought up, if you have anything else to bring to it.
So the this game was basically like the tale of the two halves. And the first half we did not play that great. And the second half we were like a whole different team. We finally got going. But that's kind of how that's how this game went. But we kind of knew how this game was going to be a very tough game. The Rams are kind of one of those teams where they're kind of they're like a tough team. They got some weapons, and the defense is kind of mediocre too. So it was going to be a tough game. and somehow we prevailed, and that's all that matters. And some people are happy about covering the spread, maybe somebody here, and
Sir.
we did very well, and well, very well in the second half. We had I mean, mostly from that. It's not, I was gonna say it's not like the offense in the second half was the player of the game. I still think it's in this game particularly was the defense that ended up still winning us the game in the end. So the Rams had a shot to win it, and it got blocked. Actually, a lot of field goals got blocked in the NFL this week, and we happened to reap the benefits in getting a victory in that way too. So that's just the way things went, and that's just how we came on top. But in the end, a win's a win as of right now. So.
Yes, sir. That's how I like it. A good old W. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course, you'd love to smash a team and be done with it. Like the Super Bowl was beautiful to just beat a team down, and in the third quarter you're just cruising. But that's not how it's always going to be. I'm happy to see how this ended. Now, that first half, oh, I don't know what was going on, and I was not home, so I'm watching it at Miller's Ale, the first half, and I'm like, just kept looking up, like, what is going on, and what's the deal with the kick return? So I'm literally just looking at it now, the condensed version, and I went to each kickoff, each return. It was number 37 and number 18, whose names I didn't even look up. Were the two guys that was always back there messing up. And I didn't understand what was so hard about picking up the damn ball. Now the Rams realized that we were struggling, so they did the right thing. They just kept kicking it short and let it bounce. Except one time they kicked it too deep and went to the end zone. Let it bounce and let them fumble around. And that led to opening kickoff in the second half. We're down 19-7. They kick off. They screw up, fumbling around, get tackled at the 10, which a few plays later led to the first Eagles turnover. Uh, Hurts getting blasted right in his chest for that fumble. And they turn it to 26-7. And I'm thinking, what? I can't believe what I'm watching. There's no way I'm watch my team get beat down like this at home. No way. So I said to my friend who I was with at the Millers, I said, I gotta go home. I gotta go watch this with my pops. We gotta put our energy together. We're gonna fix this. They need me.
Oh my God.
That's what I did. Came home. On my way home, 26-14 happens. See Goddard in there. So all right, nice. Get home. A few plays, not too much later, 26-21. There we go. Now we're talking. Then we stopped them again. A few plays later, then we take that lead. Nice. Real nice. Matter of fact, we blocked a field goal. And I was surprised. Okay, cool. We blocked a field goal. Nice. So we get the lead. And as you saw, Rams to start marching down the field with Puka. Puka Nakua. Puka Puka. Like no one could cover him. I'm just gonna throw it. I'm throwing a Puka. I don't care what anybody says. That's all I'm doing. That's what they did. And then damn it, them fools had the field goal range. And they're like, well, we're gonna wind up losing to these bastards by 2. Unless he whiffs it or we figured out a way to block it again. Now, what are the odds of having 2 blocked field goals? I have to look that up. How many games in history have there been 2 blocked field goals? And sure enough, Jordan Davis comes busting through, not only blocks the field goal, takes it to the house, which caused a whole lot of money shift and the betting and all the casinos and all the betting pools to shift the other way. You know how many people, how many LA Rams fans, how many people bet on the Rams plus the 3.5, thought their money was sealed at the half? And then the 26-7 lead, money was sealed. They didn't have to worry about a thing. I know they felt. I can't imagine what they felt because the only thing that can happen at that point was what happened. That was it. That was the only way you're going to lose that bet. Block a field goal and literally run it all the way back. Thank you, Jordan. Kept me good in my pick twos. I haven't put any money down on any game yet, but the Eagles have been good to me. So, I mean, they've been good. I've been predicting them 3-0. I figured they wouldn't cover the Cowboys game and that they would cover the Chiefs and this one. So I'm pretty good with them. It took a miracle, but it came through. But what's the deal with the kick returns? That's got to be fixed. That's just nuts. So it's weird how the game went from what horrible special teams to the end, what great special teams, to where Jordan Davis is just named the special teams player of the week. He damn right he was. Who else he won't give it to? All right. So I'm happy. It's not like I said, the way I look for a victory, like a little cleaner one, but that's all right. I mean, the Rams are a good team, so we shouldn't feel bad that we had got into a dogfight with um probably the best team in the NFC West, even though 49ers are 3-0. But I still think they're the best in that division.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Especially with adding Adams. I keep forgetting that dude just bouncing around so much I can't keep track of him. I'm like, oh, sorry, you're here now. Oh. So it's a good win. Good win. I'll take it. And like I said, there are many things to criticize. When you see the halftime numbers, and I got to pause here, Hurts had 20 yards passing. They think I said officially 19 yards, but he was 5 for 9, 20 yards passing. Barkley, 7 carries, 13 yards rushing. AJ Brown, 0-0.
Wow.
Nothing at the half.
And
But
Barkley
by the
didn't
end of
have a
the
good
game,
and Barkley didn't
huh?
have good Barkley didn't have a good first half either.
No, no, nothing was right. Besides Zach Bond's interception to start off with 90 seconds in, and then we punched it in. That was it. That first half. Nothing was working right. They made sure they're going to stop Barkley. They were not going to let him do 200 yards on the mid this time. They already happened twice last year. Like, okay, we're going to make sure that don't happen. And so, in a weird way, we could talk about this next. I'm concerned about next week, Tampa. That's a scheduling loss in my world because them bastards are always in our way. And it's just a perfect sort of almost a sandwich game in a way. And Tampa's feeling good about themselves. However,
Oh, and
the
and
way we
and
won,
Baker's playing good, and but Evans is
mhm,
out though, so we're
yes,
definitely
Evans
gonna
is
be a
out.
barn definitely gonna be
yes,
a barn burner of a game.
But they
yes,
have a rookie receiver that has already the best rookie of the year odds for offensive rookie of the year.
I agree.
Yeah, he's been killing it down there.
And
And
Becca and Becca,
obviously,
yes,
I'm not going to talk much. I already mentioned most of about this game. Obviously, with what we had to experience, and trust me, like the weather, it just kept changing forever in a day. Like it's real cold and cloudy, and it's hot and sunny, or it's like that's how the game went. And luckily, it
yep,
it ended right. It ended right. So
that's right. So that's where I was going with is that the way it ended, and by seeing Hurts throw, had to throw. And I already know he can. I don't need help. Now, there's so many fools out there that think he doesn't know how to throw or something. They think all we do is just ground and pound. We do that when we need to. When we need to put it in the air, put it in the air. That's called setting you up. But this
you think?
time,
Yeah, I was
which
gonna say
they knew we were throwing, and he still was getting it done.
yeah,
And
I was
watching
gonna
AJ
say
play big ball, just snatching balls from defenders and then
yes.
mushing them into the earth and doing the Allen Iverson step over. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So I'm thinking we're going to see more of that early on next week.
Yes, I was gonna say you think that the most of this game turned out to be on like Jalen Hurts' leadership back because our offensive coordinator really hasn't been a very good offensive coordinator. So
That's interesting. I'm hearing chatter on the radio. Does whether or not did Jalen take over the play calling because OC is not doing. No, I mean I trust Jalen if he did or if he didn't have to. We're Eagles are in a unique situation where 4 years in a row we've changed offensive coordinators, so you and we still stay successful.
yeah,
Um, even won a Super Bowl in the midst of all this. So the constant in this is the head coach and Jalen. So they're doing something right. And so it's possible that maybe Jalen did say, "Hey, I got this. You can chill." But I do believe the OC was still involved, and we'll see what happens next week. I don't think the play calling was necessarily bad first half, except I just like to get our receivers early, get them going a little sooner than waiting
yeah.
to the
And then
second half.
right, and then I want to get your thoughts on, are you surprised that the Rams stopped Barkley?
Not necessarily. I mean, obviously they had a decent defense last year. They just didn't figure out how to stop him last year well. But they got some guys in there. Obviously, Verse is pretty good. There's a lot of guys I don't really remember much, but they got they're better at the run anyway. The Rams are pretty good run defense anyway, but it's obvious that we all kind of knew coming into this year Saquon, he's not going to have the year that he had last year. By
Mm,
not he was going to take a step back. Now, obviously, why he didn't have the game he had against the Rams like he did last year, who knows? I mean, it is. But then again, if I remember last year, Saquon didn't get going until about a month into the season to begin with. That's when he really took off. So, I mean, it's still early. It's hard to tell right now, but I think as the season goes on, Saquon will get his legs rolling, and we shouldn't have him struggling. But just the way this game went, like I said, it was such a night and day difference. It's one of the craziest things we've watched over the last few years, and to mention Shaft's deal about the offensive coordinators, we're not in 2023, and I think Jalen Hurts is a quarterback like Peyton Manning, like Tom Brady, like Joe Montana. I mean, I'm talking about those elite, those greats
yeah,
of the greats. I think he's built enough of a reputation and obviously a success rate that he can run his offense no matter who the coordinator is. I think Kevin Patillo, if I'm getting his last name wrong, sue me. He's just a voice. He's just a voice. This is Jalen Hurts' offense, and you got to he put this team on his back. Yeah, Jordan Davis was a big reason they won, but another name that I hear all the time in local radio is Fred Johnson. The problem
yes,
was Lane Johnson went down with an injury. He had a neck injury, a stinger. So they put in Matt Pryor, and everybody went
Mm,
off, and it was
he got destroyed. Yeah,
he got it was terrible. When they put Fred Johnson in the game, it's almost like everything changed dramatically. Not just you know Jalen's waking up and leading the team as he does, or even what Jordan Davis did with the block field goals. You put him in the right tackle position, and it changed the entire complexion of the game. And Jalen was more comfortable in the pocket, and guys were spreading out more. It just changed everything. It changed the entire reflection of the entire game because we take the O line sometimes for granted. We don't talk about them as much as we need to because it's very important. You don't have a line, you have no chance, and you gotta give a lot of credit to Stockton to finally realize that Fred Johnson is pretty good. He's pretty good. He can start. He can start in this league. And it's obvious that him coming back in a late trade a few weeks ago before the start of the season, and then coming in when Pryor was struggling, change the entire complexion to the point where he might even start for a little bit. If Lane can't play, then you have him right there, and you aren't going to miss a beat. Now, as far as this Buccaneers game, yes, it's been tough for us the last couple of years, and they've embarrassed us, and they're off to a 3-0 start themselves. Another battle of the undefeateds, but without Mike Evans, that does hurt their passing. And I don't know about this rookie. I mean, he could be really good. Could he beat Puka Nacua 2 years ago? Probably. He wasn't. But we'll see what happens. I mean, but I just think that this is such a revenge game. The Eagles don't want to get embarrassed again by this team. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be obviously hot. Temperatures are obviously going to be in the mid 90s because summer doesn't end there until like daylight saving times ends. And I got word that they are leaving early. They're leaving a day early so they can get used to the heat. So we'll see what happens. I think this game will be interesting. It shouldn't be like last year, and it better not be like last year or that playoff loss because they'll be held to pay. But as far as what I think the matchup is, it should be a tough battle because Tampa is that sneaky team. They're that sneaky team in the NFC. You don't talk about them very often. But last year they were all over the place, and then they lost. They lost that playoff game to Washington. But like I said, the Jets nearly beat them last week, and that might be more on the fact Aaron Glenn is a better coach than they've had in a while. They just need to get the personnel and the offense, everything where it's at, and they'll probably be pretty decent. But I think we should have a decent enough game, and I think we should be able to win this game, in my opinion. Do I think we'll win? I hope so. But like the Rams, it could be one of those back and forth kind of deals where one team is better than the other and the other team's better. But you hope that we will be the best when it matters, and that's the fourth quarter. So we'll see what happens. And that's all we have for this episode. So, like I said, we'll get Justin in here. Matt should be on this episode on the look back. He missed it last week, obviously, but he should be on, as he said, at some point during the second half of our show. Who knows? I hope so, Matt. Please come on here so he can help with this pick'ems because I'm going to get lost here. But as far as, like I said, we'll have Justin on, and then we'll obviously get into all the other things. Which 3-0 team is surprising? Who has staying power? Who doesn't? And then obviously we'll get into all of our segments, and we'll see what happens. Justin will be our special guest. That's all for this Eagles Look Back. Join us next week and hopefully Matt will be on next week. God forbid.